Hey there Twilights, welcome or welcome back to Twilight Corner. So in today's video we are going to be reading and understanding the chapter The Black Aeroplane, that is of the second part of the chapter The First Flight, and this is also of the book First Flight, that is the main book for class 10. So let's start, but before we start make sure to subscribe and also share this video and also like this video. Okay, so make sure to like, subscribe and share, and yeah, let's start. This is a pretty small part, I guess, because इसमें सिर्फ 3 ही पेज है. So we can do these questions and I'll give you competency based questions as well. So the black aeroplane. The moon was coming up in the east behind me. The stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. Okay, so basically, okay, let us get the proper moon वाली feeling वाली चीज़ें. हाँ, अब देखो, this moon was coming up in the east. तो जैसे मान लो ये तुम्हारा east हो गया. The moon was coming up in the east. It was coming up in the east behind the shining stars. और ये मान लो ये तुम्हारे हो गए shining stars. So it was behind the shining stars that the moon was coming up the east. Okay, and the sky above, the aeroplane, or the, like, the person who's what do you call it over here, I think it's a pilot, right, who's selling all of this. So the moon was coming up in the east. Behind me there were stars shining in the clear sky above me. For example, this is an aeroplane, उसके ऊपर ही ये सारे shining stars behind में थे. And then I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. So over here, for example, this is France, and over here this aeroplane is going back to England over Dakota. Dakota, you could say, is a place. Okay, so it's going over Dakota to where it is going to England. Okay, it is going to England. And over here I was dreaming of the holiday. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. Obviously the pilot would be missing his family members, so he would be looking forward to seeing his family and meeting them. I looked at my watch. It was 1:30 in the morning. So it was 1:30 a.m. It was 1:30 a.m. in the morning. Okay, it was 1:30 a.m. in the morning. I could call Paris control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control Dakota DS088 over here. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. So basically now the pilot, he is saying that there was obviously this radar control जो आता है बहुत सारे, तो obviously planes which be flying will be coming in radar control. So obviously he is told that Paris के control के radar में आए वो. So he is like, as I looked down on the pass of the nose, like the nose of the aeroplane, this is the nose of the aeroplane, he looked it down and then he saw big cities, like पूरा का पूरा big cities which was there. It was fully bright and it looked very pretty. Okay, and then he switched on the radio and he said, Paris control Dakota DS088 over here. He's flying over England. Okay, can you hear me? And then the person who would be answering this is like, the voice over the from the radio answered immediately, DS088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west, DS over. So basically now he's supposed to be turning west. Okay, he's allowed to go to west, and according to the compass that he's being told, so we are supposed to be turning 12 degrees, since because it's 12 degrees, so you're supposed to turn west. I checked up my map and the compass switched over my second and the last fuel tank turned Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. So sorry. So as he was told, as he was told that basically I would be checking the compass. So as he checked this compass and all, he saw that he switched on the second and the last fuel tank. Matlab he checked all of his compass and all, whether he was going the right directions or not, and then he switched on to his second compass and last fuel tank की fueling है, fueling की ज़रूरत है, does he need to stop anywhere? So it all seemed fine. So he went to England and he thought that I'll be in time for breakfast. Mind you, this is the pilot who's thinking all of this, okay? And he would enjoy a good English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was a pretty easy and smooth flight. Okay, so Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds, storm clouds. They were huge, they looked black mountains standing in front of the sky, and I knew I could not fly up over them, and I did not have the enough fuel to fly around them to north or south. So basically now something came up, that is when he was flying to Paris, obviously once he passed 150 kilometers over here, so obviously Paris would be 150 kilometers behind, okay? So when he saw big dark clouds that looked like mountains, okay? And they were big black dark clouds, and obviously he could not fly through it. He needed to fly around them, but he did not have the enough fuel to do that. So I ought to go back to Paris. He thought that I would go back to Paris. I thought, but I wanted to get home. But he wanted to get home because he wanted to eat that English breakfast. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. So what he did was that he took the old Dakota, that is the name of the aeroplane, and he flew past across it because he just wanted to enjoy a English breakfast. Why, come on, yaar. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. So everything was so black, it was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. It was he could not see anything like stars वगैरह कुछ नहीं देख पा रहा था. Where he was going, nothing. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. Now what happened was that it jumped, मतलब ऐसे थोड़ा उछला the aeroplane, that was the old Dakota, and it kind of like twisted, थोड़ा से turn लिया. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe. He couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning around and round and round and round. So basically, when he looked at the compass, वो भी घूमे जा रहा था, घूमे जा रहा था, घूमे जा रहा था. It was dead. It would not work. So it was not working, obviously. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. So now everything was not working at all. He tried reaching the radio. So he said, Paris control, Paris control, Paris control, can you hear me? So there was no answer. The radio was dead too. Nothing was working. I had no radio, no compass, and could not see. No, I could not see where I was, and I was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds, quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted the hand and waved. Follow me, he was saying, follow me. He knew that I am lost and he was trying to help me. So now what happened was, it because he lost control in that Paris storm, there was no even nothing, no control, no nothing was working. Okay, but suddenly when he saw another aeroplane going past that old Dakota which was there, and he saw that in the other aeroplane there was a pilot who was waving to him, and he knew that this old Dakota was lost and he was going to help him. He turned his aeroplane towards the north in front of my old Dakota. So basically the other aeroplane came in front of the old Dakota, and he turned towards the north. Okay, and basically so it would be easier for me to follow him. So he came in front and he turned towards the north, so it would be easy for the aeroplane to follow. So I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane, like an obedient child. So obviously, like a obedient child, how a child follows, what do you call it, his parents, right? Like that. So after half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still in front of me in the clouds. So basically, that aeroplane was not doing anything; it was still in the clouds, and now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota to last tank to fly for 5-10 minutes or more. So now only little bit of fuel was left, so that or else it would crash, right? The old Dakota. So basically it was only there for 5-10 minutes. I started to feel frightened again and again. So he felt scared, okay. But then he started but then he started to go down, and I followed through the storm. So he followed the other one, and suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw the long straight lines of the lights in front of me. It was a runway. Finally, after following that other aeroplane, he finally went out of the clouds. He could see the runway which was there. An airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. So when he turned to thank the other pilot in the aeroplane, he was shocked to see that the aeroplane wasn't there. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone, and I could not see it anywhere. So obviously, he could not see it anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota. So basically, now he landed the old Dakota, and he was not sorry to walk from the old Dakota near the control tower. So basically, he went there, and I went and asked that a woman in the control center where I was, and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. So he went near the Paris control tower, or no, sorry, the other control tower which is there. So he went there, and he wanted to say thank you, whosoever the person was helping him. So she looked at him very strangely and then laughed. Another aeroplane up in the storm. No, there's no other aeroplane flying tonight. Yours was the only one which I could see from the radar. So he's like, there wasn't any other aeroplane. She said that from the radio control, there's nothing there, nothing was flying up, and you were the only one who was flying there. You were only seen in the radar. So who helped me to arrive safely without any compass or radio, and without more fuel in the tanks, in my tanks? So who helped him to land properly, right? Who was the pilot in the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? So who was this guy? Maybe it could be a ghost, or maybe it was God himself helping him. So maybe something like that, right? So this was a very beautiful story. This is an open-ended story, and I think this is written by Frederick someone. So I'll let you know the name. Now, based on the questions, so let's answer the questions now, as it is very important, right? Okay. The Black Aeroplane NCRT solutions. So we'll discuss now. Okay, so I had uploaded this thing, right? So basically, the first question is, one second. Yeah. So the first question is, I'll take the risk. What is the risk, and why does the narrator take it? So what is the risk? Let's see. So over here, what was the risk over here? The pilot wanted to have an English breakfast, right? So he wanted to and he wanted to return home back to England to enjoy his holiday and all, right? So obviously he was determined to do that, and basically he went inside the storm to conquer it. So basically, to write this answer, you will write it as, the pilot of the Dakota DS-088 was eager to return home to England for a family holiday. However, his flight encountered a severe storm with ominous clouds. Despite the peril, he was determined not to miss a chance to enjoy a traditional English breakfast with his loved ones, and consequently, so basically, face some consequences, right? So he made the risky choice to fly directly into the storm despite the poor visibility. So this is the first question. Second question, let us see. It is describe the narrator's experience as an aeroplane in the storm. So basically, it was a terrifying experience. He could not see anything. The compass was not working. Everything was pitch black. He wasn't able to see it. He was in a desperate solution, and he was running low on fuel as well, right? So the answer would be written as the pilot entered the storm, his plane jolted and spun, surrounded by darkness with no visibility. The instruments failed, and with the fuel running low, he was in a desperate situation. Suddenly, a mysterious black aeroplane appeared, signaling him to follow, and with no other options, he trailed the plane through the storm and safely landed on the runway of an aircraft, unguided by the enigmatic aircraft. So now next question is, why does the narrator say I landed, was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota. So basically, after safely landing right through the storm, the pilot felt immense relief and gratitude. Obviously, he was very happy towards the mysterious airplane, and he wanted to thank him. Though he wanted to express thanks, he couldn't properly convey his appreciation due to the unknown guide. He wasn't there, right? And when he went to the control, there was nothing there, right? So obviously this is the case. And what made the woman in the control center look the narrator strangely? Because as the narrator, that is the pilot, told that basically some other aeroplane was flying and all, and they guided. But then she told the woman, she told that no, that there's no other, what do you call it, she was basically, you could say, confused or puzzled that there wasn't any other aeroplane that was guiding him. There was only his aeroplane was in the radar. So basically the woman at this control center was puzzled when the narrator described the mysterious black plane that had helped him. According to the radar, his plane was the only one in the sky during the storm, leaving them both mysterious and then baffled, and the events surrounded in the mystery. Okay, now नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं तुम्हारा क्या है. Let's see. Basically, who made the woman in the control center look at the narrator strangely, and who do you think helped the narrator reach safely? Discuss this among yourselves and give reasons for your answer. So I think maybe it was God, right? God who had helped him, and maybe some other person could also have helped him, but I think God would have helped him because I don't know, maybe he was a good worshipper of God, or the it was kind of like, basically you could say, the pilot's own conscience only helped him out of the storm, and there was no other plane in the stormy night. So probably he was hallucinating, maybe you could say, or maybe there was some other spirit that could have done. But basically you could say that basically the pilot of the black aeroplane who helped the narrator was a kind, skilled stranger who unexpectedly arrived and assisted him in need. Or maybe it was some other, it was maybe narrator himself who, he was doing this in the storm, right? So this could be one to two answers that you could write. Now if you want to discuss this also, let us discuss that. Give me 2 minutes and think about it. So study these sentences below. Acha, this you have to try it yourself, do it yourself. Okay, we'll discuss some competency based questions for this chapter. So let me think of few questions. Maybe there would be some compare contrast value questions, obviously. But when you talk about competency based questions, I will think of some. I have written some. Wait. Yeah, so I have 2-3 questions here. So why was the young seagull afraid to fly? And do you think, okay, no, this is from the other chapter. Guys, this is from the other chapter. One second, let me think. There were there are compare and contrast questions that could come from the first flight thing. Wait. Till then you can answer these questions. Give me 2 minutes and I'll answer your questions. Okay, so let me think. There would be few more questions. Yeah. What problems did the pilot face in the storm? So inside the storm, the pilot obviously lost visibility, compass stopped working, radio was useless, and he feared to get lost, right? Some very good questions. So it would be, what is the mystery in this story? That black aeroplane was the mystery, right? That the mystery is about the black aeroplane, and whose identity remains unknown. It seemed like a supernatural or imaginary helper, something like that. And competency based questions from both the chapters. If you talk about, it would be the compare the feelings of the seagull before flying and after, or yeah, there could be one common message that you get from this. Both stories that teach us about courage, hope, and never, panic in situations, to overcome fear in difficult situations. And from both the stories, let me give you some very good competency questions. Mm, Yeah. So the question is, this is from the first part of the chapter, that is the seagull wala part. So basically his first flight में से पूछोगे, so the seagull's fear stopped him from flying even though he had wings. What does this tell us about the fear and confidence in real life? So it shows that fear can prevent people from taking and using their abilities. Confidence is taking the first step, which is important for success. And for this chapter, like, uh one second, there aren't really too many questions from this, but the black aeroplane appeared when the pilot had lost hope. And what does his this suggest about difficult situations in life? So it just suggests that there's hope, right? Hope can appear unexpectedly during difficult situations, even if the situation seems very impossible to go through. And what is the ending of the story considered mysterious, as I told you about the supernatural and all? It would be seen. And which character do you think, or do you relate to more, the young seagull or the pilot? So give reasons. So I would say that I would relate to the young seagull more. And many students face fear, self-doubt before trying new things, and his journey was of confidence and growth. So this basically is a chapter about courage, confidence and growth, all of the two parts of this chapter. So yeah, this was a very good story till then. Yeah, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to like, subscribe and share. Till then, take care and bye bye, Twilights. Love you all. Take care. Bye bye.